History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. July 5, 1243, the mandates of Helen and Isho and the possession of the position of Master of the Order of Santiago by Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, my 27th grandfather, 1st Lord of Aguilar, and 4th are recorded in a document issued on this date. Lord of Obernal, Troubadour, who served Dom Sancho II, King of Portugal, and was private of King Afonso X of Castile, the Wise. He participated in the siege of Martus, the conquests of Baeza, Ubeda, and Seville, and was the first to use the nickname and armos de Aguilar de Aguilar. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, 1st Lord of Aguilar and 4th Lord of Obernal, Troubadour, who served Dom Sancho II, King of Portugal, and was deprived of King Afonso X of Castile, the Wise. He participated in the siege of Martus, in the conquests of Baeza, Ubeda, and Seville, and was the first to use the surname and armos de Aguilar de Aguilar. Born in 1195 and died in 1283, he was the son of Dom João Gomes do Vinhal, Lord of Macedo de Knights and Lord of Obernal, and Dona Maria Pires de Aguiar, paternal grandson of Dom Gomes Vegas do Vinhal, and maternal grandson of Dom Pero Mendes de Aguiar and Dona Estefania Mendes de Gundar. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, 1st Lord of Aguilar, also known by his Castilian name, Dom Gonçalo Yanes de Aguilar, was a troubadour, rich man of Portugal and Castile, 1st Lord of Aguilar and 4th Lord of Obernal. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, 1st Lord of Aguilar, was a troubadour, and his work is found in the Songbook of the Vatican Library, containing songs of love and friend, as well as songs of Escanio and Maldeiza. Dom Gonçalo served Dom Sancho II, King of Portugal. It passed from Portugal to Castile during the reign of Afonso X the Wise, from whom it was deprived. He participated in the siege of Martus, where he entered with 70 knights. In 1227, he participated in the conquest of Baeza. In 1233, he participated in the conquest of Ubeda. In 1248, he participated in the conquest of Seville. On April 16, 1257, he became the 1st Lord of the town of Aguilar, at the mercy of Afonso X, King of Castile. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, 1st Lord of Aguilar, died in combat in Vega de Granada, fighting valiantly alongside Infante Sancho of Castile, future Sancho IV. Biography. Origins and early years. Possibly originating from Aguiar de Pina, a toponym that his ancestors took as their surname. In the Kingdom of Portugal, Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, Dom Gonçalo Yanes de Aguilar, was the son of Dom Juan Gomes do Vinhal, 3rd Lord of Obernal, and Dona Maria Pires from Aguiar. This affiliation made him first cousin of Dom Pelayo Pérez Correa, Master of the Order of Santiago. Historiography considers that he passed to the Castilian kingdom during the reign of Fernando III of Castile, escaping the changes that occurred in Portugal with the deposition of Dom Sancho II. However, his activities in the neighboring kingdom predate the revolt against the Portuguese monarch. Years later, Dom Gonçalo accompanied Infante Afonso, future King of Castile, when he had to take possession of Murcia in his father's name. The document issued on July 5, 1243 also states the mandates of Helen and Isho and the possession of the position of Master of the Order of Santiago. Participation in land distribution. He was part of the army that besieged Seville between 1247 and 1248, and, once the city was reconquered, he received in Plano, Gensera district, a donation of 100 ranchos and 10 ugadas, which the king later named Villa Hermanos. He appears, together with his cousin Dom Pelayo Pérez Correa, in the subsequent reference to the diversities of the Jorcina, where he obtains 100 aranzadas and 10 ugadas, in Almanzona, which on October 1, 1270 he donates to the monastery of Valbuena, and in a list of rich owners who received an inheritance of 10 ugadas in the municipality of Aznalcázar. Regarding his participation in the distribution of Córdoba, a document dated September 28, 1265 explains that the Archdeacon of Belmez, Ibáñez, donated to the rector and council of that city some houses with his deposits that he had in Santa, and all the properties they contained the houses of a certain Goncalvo Ivanez de Aguilar. According to Fernández González and H. David, the biography was made with these references, in 1265, although there is no evidence that this is so. It also mentions that, in May 1253, the knight Gonzalo Yanes de Aguilar participated in the partition of Seville as conqueror and neighbor of Córdoba. The truth is that, in light of the documents, the genealogies do not mention his intervention in the reconquest of Córdoba, nor were the urban divisions of that city preserved to provide a satisfactory answer to the question. Only 2 of his grandchildren are mentioned in the Book of Tithes of Donations from the Cathedral of Córdoba, which lists the rural donations granted at the time. Equally uncertain is his participation in the partition of Bina, a city that, after the Muslim rebellion of 1264, began to be repopulated with Christians in 1266. According to a document dated March 26 of that year, King Afonso X made a donation to Gonzalo Ivanez of some houses of the San Salvador collation, 6 vineyards in Villanueva, 60 feet of olive grove, 6 uches of inheritance and aranzada and half of orchard, with the obligation to reside in Bina with a horse and gun and not eliminate it before the end 2 years. However, in the absence of the beneficiary's surname and further documentation about the area, his identification with Mr. Gonzalo Yanez de Aguilar cannot be confirmed. Other mentions appear in different distributions carried out in Andalusia. In the district of Jerez de la Frontera, 1264, a certain Gonçalo Yanez and his wife Donna Ilana, his first wife, received houses in the San Mateo collation, although for chronological reasons it is impossible for them to be the Troubadour and your consort. Concession of Sola de Aguilar with the Cordovan Mitra. On April 16, 1257, for the numerous services that Gonzalo Yanez had provided him, Afonso X decided to grant him the town of Aguilar, in the heart of Córdoba, along with its castle, land resources, and rights, which usually belonged to the monarch. Dom Gonçalo received this subsidy through an oath of inheritance and without any limitation regarding the possibility of selling or disposing of it, except to a religious order or foreigners. However, the document made it clear that the donation was, at the same time, an exchange in which Afonso X received the Castiello of Puentes and Negara and the entire inheritance and the right of Quanto Senorio to have you and your wife Dona Joana due to the inheritance in the infantazgo of the region of Leon, and the renunciation, by the beneficiary, of 2,000 maravedis per year of income that the monarch himself. This all came to compensate, but also to increase the assets of Dom Gonzalo Yanez, since the document clarifies that the city is worth more than all the other assets mentioned. On April 28, 1260, the Mitre of Córdoba modified the agreement and handed over, as a loan and for just 2 generations, all the rights that the bishop and the council had in the specific case of offerings at the feet of the altar. The morgues, the confessions, and the annals that reveal the dead. In return, D. Gonçalo had to give him an amount of 100 Alfonsi maravedis per year or, in return, he would pay this amount in cash, which would allow him to obtain the chapel of San Juan Bautista, in the Cathedral of Córdoba, for his burial and his wife, Juana. On April 4, 1262, finally, this last agreement was modified, agreeing that Dona Joana's mortal remains would be transferred to the chapel of São Clemente, at the same time that Senhor de Aguilar would donate to the cathedral, each time he married, the best cloths I would bring to my weddings, as well as a series of sumptuary objects that should be integrated into the cathedral's treasury and constituted as inalienable assets. Last year's. As a consequence of the Mudejar revolt of 1264 to 1266, Dom Gonçalo remained alongside King Afonso X in the conquest of Murcia. It appears, confirming the royal privileges of the monarch and, later, of Sancho IV, whose accession to the throne he supported in 1275. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, First Lord of Aguilar, died, apparently, fighting alongside the future King Sancho IV in a military action that took place at the gates of Granada, around the year 1283. His body was taken to Córdoba and buried in the Royal Chapel of St. Clement in the cathedral. Family and descent. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, First Lord of Aguilar, contracted his first marriage with a lady named Joana, possibly from Leo, who died between 1257 and 1260, from whom he had Dom Gomes Goncalves de Aguilar, who died after 1270 and before his father. Dona Leonor Goncalves de Aguilar, married to Dom Diego Muniz de Godoy, son of Dom João Moniz de Godoy and Dona Maria Garcia de Cajit. Dom Gonçalo Ains do Vinhal, First Lord of Aguilar, married for the second time with Dona Berenguela Guillen de Cardona, my 27th grandmother, daughter of Dom Guillen de Cardona, Lord of Malda y Maldonel and Dona Isclaman de Foy, from whom he had Dona Berenguela Goncalves de Aguilar, married to Dom Bernardo de Cabrera, son of Dom Garau de Cabrera and Alamanda. Don João Goncalves de Macedo, married to Dona Yaraca Esteves de Avaló, daughter of Dom Estevio Dias de Avaló and Dona Sancha Goncalves de Milheiros. Dom Afonso Goncalves de Macedo, married to Dona Elvira Fernandes de Cabanos, my 26th grandparents.